Welcome to Formosa Dream Chasers.
We're your hosts, Mary Ann
and Ching En.
Please join us as we explore the journeys amazing people take in pursuit of their dreams.
And get insights from their experiences.
Let's hit the road
and get started.
Hey everyone, welcome back to part 2 of our chat with Lynn.
If you didn't get a chance to listen to part 1, he shared how he got started with dragon boat racing.
Today, he continues to share with us what it really takes to make it to the national team. So just to backtrack a little bit also, we were talking about the training differences between the local competitions and when you were training to join the international competitions. Can you give us a little more detail how you train?
Yeah, when I was doing dragon boat, the Mandarin Training Center had an intense schedule, 5 days a week, rain or shine. I thought that was hard. The national team was even harder.
Okay.
Like, they basically had 2 sessions per day, so it wasn't even 5 days a week. It was more like 7 days a week, 14 sessions. So we would actually paddle, or we'd start training at 4:30 a.m. until 6, because, people had to work. And then that was 7 days a week. And then in the evening, we'd meet up again, usually around 7 p.m. after everyone was off work, and go another hour and a half to maybe 2 hours. And so it was pretty much 14 sessions per week. They would sometimes, give a morning session or an evening session off. But yeah, we're still looking at, a total of 14, probably at least 11 or 12 sessions per week. And it was, it wasn't just paddling. They also incorporated a lot of training in the gym, which is something I had never done before. Any of the dragon teams I'm on, that was never incorporated into the training stuff. We did some running at the track or sit-ups and push-ups, but, we never actually went and used equipment indoors at a gym and lifted weights. And I know, I had friends and paddlers that would do that on their own, but it wasn't like a requirement. But with like the national team, that became a requirement. To be honest, I'd never really done gym stuff. I usually prefer exercising outdoors, so to be in an indoor enclosed space with a bunch of sweaty guys working out was just like, it was definitely a new experience for me. And then they were taking creatine powder, which is supposed to help muscle development, and I had never used that stuff in my life before, and it gave me intense diarrhea, and I was like, it was like, what is this stuff? Is this required? It's like, yeah, it's required. Okay, fine. So it was completely different category of training from anything I'd ever done. And it was a great experience. I mean, I enjoyed it. At the same time, I've never felt so exhausted in my entire life.
They took it up.
They took it up several notches,
levels,
and it was more intense than anything I've ever done. I was probably the best shape that I've been in my entire life. But you train hard, try to get good results. So, yeah.
It's quite amazing, your team and your team members, to do that training, because it's twice a day. And
yes.
On top of it, everyone's working. It's a lot of dedication.
Yes.
It's not something most people would be able to commit to,
That is correct. And yeah, I mean, my primary job now is being a stay-at-home dad. So it's like I do some freelance projects for, website development or writing or whatnot, but I basically work from home. So I come back from training, and if I'm really tired, I can take a power nap. But all my teammates, as far as I know, most of them are still working full-time. And so I greatly admired and respected them for, being able to commit to this intense, rigorous training schedule despite all the other stuff that they had going on. So
what time do your evening trainings finish?
Depends. The nighttime training, sometimes we got on the boat, and this is one of the first times that I've paddled at night on the river.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we had like a light. The drummer at the front would have this light in case, other motorboats were traveling around on the river, so they didn't hit us. Yeah, it was very, very, it was new, it was unique. It's like, normally you train in the daytime. So if we did that, we would sometimes stay out later. The gym training, there was a fixed routine on, which machines you're supposed to use. And depending on how many people were there, sometimes you're waiting in line to use the machine. So if you got there early, maybe it could be done in an hour. But if you got there when the crowd was there, you could be there 2.5 hours just waiting to get all your training finished. Pool training, it was usually an hour, depending on what, the coach wanted us to do, whether we're doing, endurance work or strength work or whatever. The training at night, because people were off work, it was open-ended. The morning one, obviously, 4:30, you're done at 6 because people have to go to work. You can't make people late for work. So
evening trainings would start most likely 7 after work?
7 o'clock and
9 or 10?
Yeah, 9:30ish. Yeah.
Wow. And then people go home. Wow.
Sleep and then get up again at 3:30 for the next day's training.
Wow, that's amazing.
And we actually, we practiced in different locations. So most of it was at Haikada, out at the Shozudao Peninsula at the very tip. And that's where we did our pool training and our gym training. And then they had 2 dragon boats out there that, depending if the tide was high enough to allow us to take the boats out, we would paddle there. But there was a couple sessions that we practiced in Ilan at the Dongshan River, Dongshanhe, because several of our team members were actually, from teams from Ilan, and most of them usually couldn't come to Taipei to train simply because it's too far away. So occasionally we would go to Ilan, especially on the weekends, to train. At that point, you're getting up at 2:30 in the morning because you have to drive an hour to Ilan and then train, and then
all I can say is wow.
You're sacrificing a lot of sleep,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah. That was the hardest part.
So what do you love most since you've been doing it for this long? I'm now curious, what do you love most about the sport, and maybe what do you hate the most, if anything?
The thing I love about the sport the most is how everyone is equally important. I played soccer when I was growing up, and I've done other team sports, a little bit of, football. It's different because in other team sports, you can have a strong player that can pull your team out of a loss just based on their phenomenal skills. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is the Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan, right? He led the Bulls to 6 national championships. You can have a really strong person that can lead the team and help them secure victories. Dragon boat racing, you got 20 paddlers and everyone is equal. You're as strong as your weakest link, pretty much. If you're not in sync, I have years of experience. I'm fairly physically fit, but I can't pull the team to a victory the way Michael Jordan can pull the Chicago Bulls in the past to a national championship. We all have to work together, and that's what's so beautiful about this sport, and that's what I love the most about it. That whole team camaraderie, that team spirit, and that feeling when the boats, when everyone's in sync and you can just feel the boat flying. It's just like nirvana. It's like the ultimate natural high. What do I hate about dragon boat racing? Team politics. I mean, the politics, it's part of the sport. There's no way you can avoid it. But I mean, that's the thing that I hate about it, is I don't like dealing with that. Because of my many years of experience, the school, the Mandarin Training Center always wanted me to be the captain of the team, and I always declined because I just saw lots of stress, lots of headaches, and 0 reward. And it's like politics. People want to compete, they want to paddle, and then they're like, oh, how can they get to be on the boat and I don't get to be on the boat? And it's like, well, we're rotating people out. It's having to deal with that kind of drama is just it's just not fun. So I've always admired the captains who are willing to take on that task and deal with all of that BS that people complaining about this or that, or why can't they compete in this race, why are they in that race, why I'm on the mixed team as opposed to the men's team, or why I'm on the women's team versus the mixed team, or vice versa. And it's just that kind of drama and politics I never really liked. Even going to the World Championships this year, Taiwan national team, I couldn't say Taiwan national team. I'm there, I'm representing Chinese Taipei, and it's politics, right? It's China putting pressure, saying, okay, that Taiwan sounds like you're trying to declare independence, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a sport. We're racing, we're having fun, we're trying to win. It shouldn't have any of this politics stuff involved, but it always seeps in, and it's unavoidable, unfortunately.
Okay, so what about your most memorable experience then?
Overall, my entire career, whenever we got first place, it was amazing. The first time, 1997, it was my 3rd year paddling. The Mandarin Training Center men's team and women's team both got first place in the international division. And that thrill of, being able to compete against the best local team in the Presidential Cup was just phenomenal. The Mandarin Training Center team hit first place several times during my span of paddling with them. I think we did so again in 2000, 2002, 2006, and those were all just fantastic memories. More recently, of course, traveling abroad to compete for the first time was an amazing experience. Going to Egypt, paddling on the Nile River in 2019.
That's cool.
That was phenomenally cool. It was only the 2nd year that they held the race. They had just gotten the boats from either Hong Kong or China, and a friend from the U.S., the Dragons of North America team, she's like, hey, we have a spot. Do you want to go to Egypt? I'm like, of course I want to go to Egypt. Who wouldn't want to go to Egypt? Paddling on the Nile, and then on your off days you can go visit pyramids. It's just fantastic. And of course this year making on the national team is again an awesome memory. It's 29 years of accumulated paddling, and it's I've hit basically the top, the pinnacle of the sport, and it's fantastic. I remember when the coach had to apply with the government to get certification saying you're on the national team and so on and so forth, so that people could take time off from work. I think there's a gongja that, people could get. But like when I got that certificate that day and like I was cycling home from training, it's just like I was like crying. I was like, this is amazing. I can't even believe I'm on the national team. I'm going to be representing Taiwan in this competition. So that's phenomenal memory.
Along this journey, do you have any regrets?
I regret I didn't start paddling earlier. Yeah, it's like looking back, hindsight's always 20/20, and it's like, I should have started paddling at a much younger age. I should have, definitely.
Okay. But at least, like you said, it's a long-term career. So you can see yourself paddling.
It's a lifetime sport. Yeah, I'm 51. I'm turning 52 next week. There's no age limits. That's the beautiful thing about this sport. That race in Egypt, my roommate, a gentleman named Grant, he was 82 and he was still going strong.
Wow.
He was still paddling strong. And I think several years ago, I was reading an article in the Taipei Times, about the Taipei City races, and there was a female paddler. She was in her 90s and she was still racing. And
That's amazing.
That's amazing. Exactly. It's like, so yeah, I hope I can continue doing this until that age, until the day I die. I hope I can continue paddling.
Now that you've actually become part of the national team, would you say you've achieved your dream? Or is your next dream now to paddle like we just discussed until you're 100? Is that the next dream?
It's a combination. Yeah, it's a bit of both. It's like in martial arts when you get your black belt. Like there's actually 10 degrees of black belt, right? So getting that black belt's only the first step. It's actually the start of the career. So making it on the national team was awesome, and I hope I can make it on the national team again in the future as well. But like I haven't won a medal yet. It'd be awesome. The next goal right now is to win a medal.
Okay.
I mean, if it's gold is the best, obviously, but silver, bronze, I'd be happy with any of those. So that's probably the next major goal in terms of personally what I would like to accomplish in the sport. I also want to, just compete more abroad. I want to paddle in Europe. I want to paddle in North America and see what it's like in those areas. Like how different are the races, or how similar are they, or how just experience different aspects of the sport elsewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm just going to backtrack a little bit because you mentioned something about you hope to be part of the national team again. It sounds like it's not how do I say? It's not a permanent
guaranteed.
place.
No, it's not a permanent place. It's never a permanent place. No.
Is it like every year that you need to, I don't know, apply, or I don't know.
Usually it's per year. So the World Championships is held every 2 years. So, next year there won't be a World Championships. It won't be till the following year. And I think that in 2025 it'll be, I think, in Germany.
Oh, okay.
So the International Dragon Boat Federation, they actually have two different major events. One is the World Dragon Boat Race Championships. The other one is the World Crew Championships. And they alternate years. So next year is the Crew Championships, and I think that's in Italy. And then the following year would be, again, the World Dragon Boat Championships, and that would be in Germany. So on the team one year doesn't guarantee that you'll be on the team next year. I mean,
I see.
Like even on my own, like my personal team, Team Max, we have usually registered 2 boats for the new Taipei City competition. There's a Team Max Jishen Dui, and then there's Team Max Taiwan. And Jishen Dui is the strong team, the stronger team, the ones that are more serious about trying to win, whereas Team Max Taiwan is more of a recreational team. And I'm not even guaranteed of being on the strong team every year. Like I have to make sure I'm going to practice and I'm training hard and that I qualify for the stronger team within my own team. Yeah, the same thing is true with the nationals, and every year they'll usually have a competition to see which team can represent Taiwan abroad for these types of competitions. So yeah, I'd have to requalify.
So then back to what we were talking about. It sounds like your dream is an ongoing dream then.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, the perpetual dream.
So that said, how would you define success?
Getting gold medal would be a good way, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Getting a medal is the next step. And then depending on what medal it is, if it's bronze, then I want to get at least silver or gold. And then
go from there.
Yes.
Lynn, so what advice would you share to our listeners to motivate them to pursue their dreams? What would you tell people who don't know what they want or cannot decide what they really want?
Basically, just never give up. Always work hard, give it 100%, and try to strive towards your goals. Don't be afraid to, make sacrifices along the way, because, nothing is easy, right? To reach these goals, especially something like this, like trying to be on the national team, you can't be discouraged. You can't be worried about failure. You just keep going and don't give up. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm afraid that's all the time we have, folks. Again, Lynn, thank you so much for coming on to our program.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and thanks everyone listening to Radio Taiwan International.
Don't forget to tune in next Sunday as we continue with our dream chasing year at Formosa Dream Chasers.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.